bullshit of success and the excitement of failure. Those particular things. And I'm really excited to really dive into the fact that, who's the person I want to listen to this podcast. I want somebody that just wants to hear a good positive message and a good glimmer of hope. Yes, we have a podcast. We have a podcast. And it's been a year and a half in the making. And what I'm really excited about is I just wanted to share some really good stories, some cool shit, some cool stuff, right? And just talk about the things that what keeps us all up at night, or what success actually looks like, what failures actually look like. Like, I really wanted to be authentic to what's about to happen in a podcast, which is a lot of people, they might ramble or they might have different topics. Sometimes you just want to see the connection between people. But really, I just wanted us as a team to share wisdom like you always do, share fun stories, make people laugh, make people cry, make people know who we really are. So I'm really excited to move forward on this podcast, and thank you for being my co-host. I really appreciate it. So
we're gonna get into the field.
What are we trying to accomplish here?
For me, my biggest thing is always, I want people to know whatever they're experiencing, other people are too. And that they can talk about it, they can be in it, they can shift it if they want to, or they can just accept it and be like, well, this is a mess. Yeah. and I love that about myself. Yeah, and I love that about my life. And it's part of it. And it's not a big deal, because I think we get into the most trouble when we are isolated. Mm-hmm. And we isolate ourselves because we think what we're experiencing isn't what other people are experiencing. Yep. Mm-hmm. And that if they knew that this was going on, then I'm out, right? Then I'm not accepted, or I'm less than, or whatever. Yeah. So if we all just started talking about it and saying like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. Yeah. My life is a mess most of the time. Yeah. Like, sometimes just having a good hair day that's it. That's all I got going for me that day. Like, ooh, but this is all right. Like, yes. So why I want to do this and have just genuine conversations is so that people know whatever you're in, somebody else is in it too. Mm-hmm. Somebody will hang with you in it, or someone could help you get out of it. Yep. If you want to get out of it.
Yeah, I think every single time we talk about what is this podcast all about, it just becomes like an even greater Seinfeld episode. It's a little bit about nothing and everything. And I say this because, like, we were talking about, like, who the hell's going to listen to this? And I thought about it. I was like, maybe it's my C-level friends, or acquaintances, or maybe it's my family, or maybe it's just some gal that really looks up to the agency or the businesses or the Asian community. And I was like, I don't know who's going to be the target audience for this, but somebody who's willing to listen, right? Somebody who's willing to listen to hearing how sometimes they feel like they're alone at the top. Sometimes they feel like their home is in shambles, but their career is really awesome. Sometimes, I want to talk about and meet people and talk about their stories about how they were really successful from a marketing perspective, but at the same time, they still can't figure out how to get a damn date, or I want to hear, I'm really, really excited to dive into failures, mm-hmm. right? Because our paths were so different. Our paths were same. You said, I had a lot of failures. And I was like, well, I had a lot of failures. And you're like,
I had a lot of failures.
Yeah. And like, these are all like really circular moments that I think with each other. And I feel that, when we see people putting out content or podcasts or videos or vlogs, some of them are like, hi, this is my channel. And this is very like mechanical and very procedural. Like we even stopped this podcast in the first recording because I was like, this does not feel right. This feels right. This feels right because it's like authentically us. It's authentically stories. It's authentically, random things that happen in our daily lives, right? And I'm excited to share this with a person that just needs a glimmer of hope, somebody to relate to, mm-hmm. Somebody that has been in my shoes, or somebody that wants to be in my shoes, and just put it all out there and see what happens next.
Or in my case, wants to have no shoes at all, because that's how I'm rocking it over here.
I totally forgot that you.
I almost never have shoes on. I'll even do workshops and speeches without shoes on. One time, true story, I had this really big workshop. It's one of the scariest ones I give. It's really fun. It's called Conscious Connection. Use the internet. Don't let it use you. It was all about technology and our relationship.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I'm looking great. Right? I had my outfit all planned and everything. And I recognize I've been introduced and I'm walking up to the stage and I realize my sandals are making a fart sound when I walk.
That's great.
It was not great. I didn't love it. And so I was like, what am I going to do? I can't be giving this serious presentation. I mean, none of mine are all that serious because I got to keep it a little goofy. But I'm like, I can't give this. And then people, all they're going to remember is that I was farting the whole time because they don't know it's my sandals. And so I'm like, you know what?
Quality flatulence.
Nope. I took them off and I told them what was going on. I was like, my shoes are making a fart sound. I will not have you all walking out of this room thinking I just farted the whole way through. And I took them off and I just did the whole thing barefoot and had a blast doing it. So you got to that's life.
Yeah, I know.
You just figure it out.
And like those funny stories, I think are going to be what makes this podcast great. Not only that, but like when we were brainstorming on what this could potentially be or how we can talk about it, I think one of the things that even came up with me while we were talking, like I cried. I was like, why am I so emotional? But like, I'm excited to share those stories of like what success actually looks like, or, you know, the failure stories where I'm like in tears and like in panic or losing sleep over things. I'm excited to share those stories too. And even some fart jokes from time to time. So I think it's really great.
That is the first time I've ever talked about farting on camera before. That's you guys don't know it, but therapy-wise, that's a breakthrough I just had. So I'll really explain later. Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I also think too, you know, we haven't talked about this yet, but what will come out of this conversation over time will be very therapeutic moments in our crazy industry, right? We're in the marketing and advertising, PR industry. There's probably 1 million emails. I know at least 2,000 in mine. I wish I was kidding. And
I would literally have faked my own death by now.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Like, and I mean it. Like, I think one of the great qualities about you being my co-host is the fact that I said to you once that you're kind of that guiding light or that voice of reason for a person. And sometimes C-level executives don't have authentic employees that can be that. I mean that, right?
No, I believe it. I'm just, in my head, I'm going like, yeah, that tracks. Like, if you were to be like, I don't want to hear that you're fired, I'd be like, yeah, all right, I'm cool. I'm good. I had a good run.
Yeah. And so, and I mean that, like, I think that this is just really good for my soul to really talk about this and really break into what are the good, the bad, what are the good things, the bad things, and the ugly things about being in business, helping other people, nonprofit management, even being a mom volunteering at her son's school. Like, those are things I'm really excited to talk about. I just wish I had a funny story that I can think about, but I don't have anything off the top of
Why you always got to one-up me?
I know.
Maybe I had the funny story this episode. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's why there's multiple episodes moving forward.
So that you can get a funny story.
Yes, I can get a funny story.
It. That's why y'all are here.
That's it. But I am very grateful for you being here, being my co-host. And I would say, let me ask you this. Before we wrap up, what's one thing that you think people should subscribe? Hit that subscribe button. What's one thing that you think people are going to get away from this podcast compared to any of the other ones that are out there right now?
Reality.
Yeah.
That is what I want to bring into this. That is what I hope people take away from it. That there's no one way to success.
Yeah.
There's no one definition of success. And even in our own definition of success, there's not one way to get there. And we're going to mess up a whole bunch along the way. And that's part of the process.
Yeah.
And it's the like yummy, juicy part of how we got there. And it helps us become who we are.
Yep.
That's the reality. We're not robots that are just like, if I follow this checklist, then I will be successful at the end of the day, and like then I'll be happy. It's like, enjoy. Good luck if you're doing that. Like, make that podcast. People will listen to it. That's not my life. My life's a mess a lot of the time, and I love it, and I love who I am. I love the mess. So it's like, that's the reality. To be a person, you got to be in the mess. You got to find a way to enjoy all of it and make all of it useful.
Yep.
To me, that's success and happiness.
I think the reason why I want people to listen to this is because I don't want them to feel like they're alone. I also don't want people to continue on living a life where it's all of perception. You know, I'm really proud about the fact that the both of us come from different communities. Even just like, yes, I am a strong female woman. I want to say what I want to say, but being a woman of color, having a Filipina-led podcast, not to talk about DEI issues, which eventually we'll get to, but like somebody that other Filipinas or even people of color can relate to about the bullshit of success and the excitement of failure. You know, those particular things. And I'm really excited to really dive into the fact that, you know, who's the person I want to listen to this podcast. I want somebody that just wants to hear a good positive message and a good glimmer of hope, knowing that, you know, my mission being creating jobs and helping people, I just want to help somebody go on with their day based off of this podcast from two people in marketing and advertising, from a person that comes from a background of business. Like, let's cut through the bullshit because business is not conventional anymore, right?
Nope.
Yeah. So this is going to get really exciting. And I'll say this, like, I am, again, honored to have you be the co-host. We have some really great topics, you know, success and failures, stories. We have special guests that we have to hopefully open up to us too. And even maybe just some of our team members. Like, we're grateful for Justin Otsuka behind the camera and behind the microphone, listening to us and just pretending like he's doing a really great job pretending like he's actually interested. And thank you. Even if we only get one listener.
No, we'll have three. We both have moms.
Oh, yeah. And Justin.
That's what we always three. Yeah. I mean, you're about to get married, so he's got to listen.
I know.
That wedding it's not complete yet. So, you know, there's still room to back out if he's not listening.
Spencer will be probably listening to either Swami Rob or me.
Okay.
For the rest of his life. Anyways, I'm really excited to have this podcast. So I hope everybody stays tuned for episode 1. Anything else that you can think of that's going to be helpful?
I have a pondering.
Yeah.
Like, you threw a question my way. I have a pondering.
Okay.
What if, with things being as different as they are nowadays, right? There's no formula anymore. What if it's actually possible to be successful on every level, talking career, finances, fitness, family, relationships, health, the dating, the whatever it is, as your full self, fully and enthusiastically in love with who you are, showing up in the world that way, and living a boldly satisfying life?
Is it possible?
What if? What if that was real? What if we all had the chance to experience that and we get to explore it here on this show? That's my pondering. What would that life look like?
I'm excited to explore the opportunity because immediately my answer is nobody's perfect and life happens the way that it is.
Yeah, but that's
the beauty of it.
That's the part of it. Yeah, that's the piece of it.
Like, okay, so here's an example. And I know I'm conscious of time. While I was talking to my son like a couple days ago, he told me, he said, somebody close to me said that he thought that the picture perfect life was a picket fence, a family, 2 wives, 3 kids, or 1 wife, 2.
Ooh, so I was like, well, they're not forward to hearing more about that.
I was like, wait a minute, that's a different kind of religion. Anyways, no, so he said, you know, somebody in my life thinks that a picture perfect family is a dog, kids, picket fence, house, etc. And I said, well, that was the reason why that person and I never got along. And I said the person and I never got along because their picture of success was a fake picture of success, and everybody's future looked so different than each other. And, you know, that's a perfect story, I think, to tell at some point during the show. You know, how many of us had a C-level executive come in and say, my life is great, I have the Tesla, I have the beautiful house, but I'm lonely when I go home and I want to stop eating dinner by myself or with business colleagues or things like that. That happens all the time.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So, never know what's going to happen.
I think we could do it all.
Yeah.
I'll also throw out that, and we'll have to dive more into this later, but I do think that we're perfect and that life is perfect. It's not flawless, but there are ways for it to be perfect. And we can touch on that in the stuff portion of a later episode.
Yep, for sure. So thanks very much for being my co-host. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to meeting all the listeners and people that are willing to hear us on stories, success, and stuff.